be out there with your mom. I understand. But Nipples is out there, and she can't be stuck in this room all the time. So you need to get used to her. Stop attacking her. Yeah. There are no toys in here? Yeah, I know. You hate it. Don't you? Ow. Why would you bite me? Okay. Alright. Kitty cat. Mr. Forrest Gump. And there it is. There's the end of the game. So, having played this game for about 45 hours, having played Monster Hunter Rise for about 15 hours and Monster Hunter World for about 30 hours, 20 hours. How does this game stack up? Well, aside from it being their own take on the Monster Hunter franchise, I think newcomers who have always wanted to get into Monster Hunter will find a lot to love here. I think it's a fantastic game as far as getting into a group with friends, getting a group with random people, and killing monsters, and the fluidity of the combat, the speed of the combat, feeling more like Nioh 2 as in terms of combat. So if you were to take Nioh 2 and put it in a Monster Hunter game, you would have this game. The less complexity in prep time. You literally just eat your food. You can put everything into different little baskets or drying racks, and then come back later after a hunt and pick up better food. But there's no pre-match. There's no going to the chef and getting a well-cooked meal before going out onto an expedition. There's no building different items like bomb barrels or explosive barrels. There's really no item creation really at all in this game. I think it's called the Kiriko. The upgrade tree where you build stuff. I think that is what really sets this apart from Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter does feel extremely clunky when it comes to item management and item usage, whereas this game makes all of that set up in more of a combo related building mechanic where you build certain things and stack on top of each other and builds into something else. I think that is fantastic, and I really do like that system, and I do hope that Monster Hunter in the future will adopt a system like that, even though after 20 years of Monster Hunter being out, they're pretty much ingrained in that, and that's in their clunky item management system, and that's what their player base expects now, and that's cool. I do like the complexity of Monster Hunter. Combat, again, it's like Nioh 2, but it's simpler. It's simpler than Monster Hunter. I don't feel like there's a ton of combos or combos that lead in parries or have specific timings. And you do have to practice a lot of restraint in this game because of how fluid the combat is. You end up, like last night on that Celestial Dragon with my buddies. We didn't down it. We fought it a bunch of times and it just didn't go down. One of us would die, you know, multiple times, and just lose it for the team. The issue, as far as practicing restraint, is that it's so fluid that you want to button mash. As soon as you find even the slightest opening, you want to go in there and just start hitting buttons and try to get as much damage out as possible. And then you end up committing too hard into button mashing. You can't just cancel every ability into a dodge roll. The monsters in this game attack more frequently. They attack quickly. And a lot of the monsters do have what feels pretty unfair. Where they'll do a combo and you can only dodge the first two, even doing a sliding dodge or a rolling dodge. Doesn't matter how you're doing it. You dodge the first two, but the third one always hits unless you have specific cure key that you can build and, you know, push yourself away. Like the slingshot. So you have to utilize your building mechanics a lot in this game. Just to find certain advantages. Getting a group. So this is something that I heavily criticize Monster Hunter over, is their grouping system is one of the worst grouping systems I have ever seen in a game. And it could be that I only have 30 hours in either of their games. That could very well be, and that the people playing at lower levels, you know, that's all tutorial stuff. But grouping in Monster Hunter versus grouping in Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts allows you to only group with 2 other players maximum, whereas Monster Hunter allows you to group with 4. Getting groups is so much easier in this game. You can just jump in, go to a mission, and start playing with other players. You can also, when you get into a group with friends, you're always in that group. Now, I know that Monster Hunter Rise fixed that issue compared to World, where like after every expedition or every mission, World would kick you out of your own group. They also fixed the issue of in this game they fixed the issue of story told missions. You can play through the entire story co-op. I had played through 95% of this game with my buddy James, and then about 30% of the game was also spent with my buddy Corey, known as Shagadelic. And it's been a blast. It's been an absolute blast. It's been a journey, and I do like that. As far as gearing goes, very similar to Monster Hunter, where all of your, it doesn't really give you more stats per se, but each piece of equipment comes with a perk or a bonus, and that stacks on itself, so you can build based off of those little perks and bonuses. You don't get like plus 10 to strength, which is cool. I love that kind of system. They take that system into a more simpler way. There's not as many options as there are in Monster Hunter as far as builds go. And it could just be that there's not as many monsters. Obviously, future DLC will give that. Weapon gearing or upgrading your weapon, I really do like how they do it. You can go up and down the tree, all the way through the entire tree if you would like. You can go in many different directions just to get all the perks that you want out of your weapon specifically. Say you have one on the right side and one on the left side, but you want to go all critical strike, then you can go down, up, and just keep collecting crit and then go down to the main function of the weapon that you want, or the actual weapon that you want, while collecting all those skill bonuses. I like that system. Whereas Monster Hunter, the tree is very straightforward. It's very big, but it's very straightforward. Again, really like that system. I think they did an excellent job with the upgrading of the gear in this game. Now the grind is something that a lot of people have issues with, at least when I was trying to get all my buddies to start playing Monster Hunter World with me about a year ago. Everybody said the same thing. Oh, I heard it's a grind. I don't want to grind for hours on end. Noted. There is a grind in this game. It doesn't really happen until the third chapter. That's when you have to sit down and be like, okay, monsters are one-shotting me. It's time for me to build up my defenses, build up everything as far as the game, as far as gear goes, or the monsters are living too long, or I'm not breaking off pieces, so on and so forth. You do need to grind a lot in this game. So I got to roughly the end of chapter 3 was when I started grinding. I got to chapter 3 around the 12-hour mark, and now I binged this game. I played 12 hours straight, got to the end of chapter 3. Problem with that was the content between the chapters from that point. The chapters feel very short, but it's stat wise, you spend a lot more time in those chapters because you are grinding, not because you're progressing the story. Whereas the previous chapters, you're progressing the story. The grind at the end is, being that I played this game for 45 hours, spent a good 20 hours grinding. Now, that's fine. I do enjoy that because I am improving my character. And I think I just unlocked the end game. Overall, if you are a fan of Nioh 2, you are a fan of Monster Hunter, and you want to jump into a Monster Hunter game without jumping into the complexities of Monster Hunter, I would strongly recommend this game. Yeah, buddies that you want to play with, again, strongly recommend this game. However, if you're looking for something more complex, or you don't like the Dark Souls or Souls-like Nioh 2 formula, then I do think that Monster Hunter takes the edge here as far as being a better game. However, I do think that there's a lot to love here, and it's very close. As far as the feeling goes, when it comes to both games, they do feel very, very different. And it's very hard to say which one's better than the other. Even though they're in the same vein, they are both very, very different games. Which is what I love about this game, is that they went and tried to innovate certain parts of the game to make it more user-friendly, less clunky, easier to understand, and more fast-paced. I do love it for that. I do commend it for that. It can be frustrating at times because it seems like some of the later fights, monsters just don't stop attacking you. The window to attack is very small. You don't do a whole lot of damage. Yeah, that's about it. That's my review.